Hello, everyone. This is Todd with Belin Sports and Fitness with the Belin Challenge Fitness Boot Camp, aka with the 28-day Flatten Your Curve Challenge. And I have with me a good friend, but he's also someone that I think you need to really listen to very closely because there's a main reason I wanted to actually take this moment and literally publicize it, not just have a isolated, individualized conversation where it's private between me and him, but something that's public. And I think it's going to be beneficial and it's going to bless you. Once you basically hear this. Here's the thing. Jamel just spoke. We just talked 2 or 3 days ago, and I said, Jamel, stop for a second. I'm hearing something that needs to be publicized. He was basically, you were telling me a couple of days ago that back, I think it's in April, but you kind of elucidate and give the specific details. But back in April-ish, you had went to the doctors, and the doctors had said that your blood pressure numbers were high. You then started doing a 28-day challenge, and from there, you had a different experience. The reason why I bring this up is because with the 28-day challenge, I'm not a doctor, so the only things that I can literally quantify physically is scale numbers and measurements going around the waist. I can't cut you open. I can't get your blood. I can't show how things are shifting internally. I can only show the expression of change externally. So with that being the case, I really want to zoom in on that conversation we just had a couple of days ago. Can you explain the first time you went to the doctor a couple of weeks ago, or April or March, and then explain what your experience was just recently?
Absolutely, and thank you. Great to be here. I'm Jamel Anderson, founder and CEO of Fanmire, fan engagement platform that we will talk about after we cover some medical tips. So to Todd's point, I did go to the doctor to check my allergies in April. So during getting my vitals taken, my blood pressure was actually 139 over 94, which is considered to be high. So I came back to Todd and said, hey, what do you got going, you know? And ironically, he had started this 28-day challenge to what I would say is challenge some of our COVID behaviors. So within that, I got 2 weeks into it. And ironically, I had I shouldn't say even 2 weeks, maybe 11 days into it. And I had a doctor's appointment, a follow-up with the allergist. And that was actually not even a week and a half ago. So I get my vitals taken again as the follow-up. And so as the young lady's reading them, she says to me, hey, has your primary physician put you on medication? And I said, no, why? She said, these numbers, they like just reversed. So you're now 114 over 64. So obviously that's a victory. And that would definitely be something that I'm proud of, because while I'm waiting on the changes on the outside, I clearly know that the ones on the inside have taken place.
And I think that's critical. And the reason why I'm going to say that's basically critical because, you know, how we look compared to how we feel, although they are connected, ultimately in the end, how we look comes temporary. You know, we want the six pack, we want to flatten the abs, we want to, whether it's the six pack or the shoulders, the chest, the triceps, whatever that might be. But ultimately in the end, when it comes down to how we feel as far as that quality of life, one of the greatest things that exercise with good nutrition and just a healthy lifestyle renders is that how you feel as far as that quality of life, and to be able to actually change the trajectory of moving from, which could potentially have been if you didn't shift, to now the doctor's saying, hey, you need to do something. Your numbers are high, because those are hypertension numbers, especially those that are fully aware of the high blood pressure experience. The next conversation or the conversation afterwards, if those numbers didn't go down, the doctor would have said, well, I think we need to put you on some medication to bring you into a safe haven so that a potential stroke or heart attack doesn't occur. So I think it was very vital that everybody kind of heard this. And I am super excited to not just hear about what you just told me, but also super excited because I know when it came down to this, years ago, you and I were basically talking about Fanmire, and it was just a thought. Hey, I got this idea, and I'm like, okay. And so now it's not an idea, it is a living creature. And I'm actually on the Fanmire platform right now doing this interview. So I'm definitely super excited because you were also telling me certain other benefits. And I think this is where, if I have any business owners, anybody else that's out there that is, they are interested in actually elevating, or let's just say moving to the next level in social media, as well as moving the needle with their business, that you were saying Fanmire definitely has the next level experience. Can you go ahead and kind of explain, because I don't want to butcher the info. I want it to come straight from the wizard's mouth on just how amazing the experience is.
Well, thanks, Todd. So let's first start by saying, again, Fanmire it comes from a fan admiring their favorite celebrity or influencer, right? So I think that when we look into who we are as people, we're all fans of something, right? Whether you came up in the era of Motown, whether you're a sports enthusiast, whether you like comic books, whether you like games, whether you're a fan of fashion, there's things that connect us all in a way toward being a fan of something. So what Fanmire does is we tap into what true fandom is all about. So we know most platforms today as social media, but in terms of being a media platform, we are that. But I would like to think we're more fan engagement than social media. We use technology to connect fans online, right? And we also have a piece where we connect fans to their favorite influencer meaning anyone who has a level of influence around a certain interest, right? We used to be in a world where either you were a celebrity or you weren't, right? So, but today a rock band could have 10,000 followers on Instagram, while we wouldn't traditionally call them a celebrity, we may call them an influencer. So it just means that you have influence in some area of life that people are interested in. It can be 1,000 people, it can be 500, it could be 50 million. But influencer just defines that there are people who are interested in you in some capacity. So at Fanmire, what we do is we tap into what that influence and interest is. So me growing up, two things I had to have being a Knick fan was patience and a good therapist. So but, nonetheless, I am a diehard Knick fan. And when I was coming up, just wondering, what did Patrick Ewing actually do during off days? What was it like, when the Knicks were go on their way on a bus to get on that plane to go face Michael Jordan in the Eastern Conference Finals? These are the connections and the energy that we want to tap into at Fanmire, where we bring you that connection, whether it's online and in person. I think I'm telling my age here. I was a fan back when WWF, I believe it was. And, Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Superfly
Snuka,
Junkyard Dog. And I mean, I'm talking diehard fan on a Saturday with the hanger to fix the antenna to make my I mean, I'm talking fandom where my brother would fight over who's watching what. You're not that's with my wrestling. I was a fan, and
Mm-hmm.
being able to go see WrestleMania via live circuit, that was your connection, right? But when the show ends, when the last pitch is pitched, when the last song is sang, there's still something we long for. We want to stay connected to that influencer. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what Fanmire will bring. And on the online version, how we do it, we connect people by different interest points. That can be sports, fashion, food. We promote a community of no cyberbullying, no negativity, just true fan engagement around the things that matter to them outside of influencers. That's what Fanmire is all about.
Gotcha. So someone such as myself, let's just say I have a bunch of influencers that take my boot camp, interested in my boot camp, interested in my services, interested in the 28-day. Um, that's where Fanmire really becomes a pivotal point of being able to not just them taking the class, but from a standpoint, the life after the class.
Exactly, right? Because after you finish your boot camp, right? How do you maintain your physique, right?
Mm.
Maybe that's taking people behind the scenes of what you do. Like if you're going to compete, maybe bring live streaming what your meal preps are, right? Maybe that's them going into the gym with you for 15 minutes on a day where you really don't feel like doing it, from car to gym, and then give you a workout and a warm up. So it's about giving people more access outside of what they normally have.
Nice. I like that. I definitely like that. Well, my friend, I think this was definitely a very good experience. I won't just call it a conversation because I think this is definitely an experience, and motivational, inspirational experience, because this is speaking to two different people. One, this is speaking to the person who had information, had an encounter before. It might have been where, hey, someone might have said, the doctor might have said to them they need to, do something about the high blood pressure. It might have been a situation where they're sitting at the job and noticing that their limbs are going numb, and it's due to high blood pressure, or they're getting these massive, they're getting, life is sending them warning signs. And this becomes not a warning sign, but this just becomes a confirmation that life is saying, hey, we need to change something. And I think this conversation is not a conversation that ends in a bad standpoint where, wow, something happened, he had a heart attack. But this is a conversation that ended positively, where you had the information that you were going in a different direction, and now you basically changed it. But also the great thing is that, hey, I used to be a WWF fan, just like you, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Matter of fact, you may not know him, but Matt Brown, who was he came as a trainer, an intern over in the Yonkers. He used to be a WWF wrestler.
Wow.
And he used to hang out with Andre the Giant and all that. He has a lot of clips. I have to introduce you to him. But to say all that, I'm super excited because if I had a Fanmire back then, and I could have locked in and followed the Junkyard Dog or Mr. USA Tony Atlas right after the match, oh man, I'd have been all up on it. I mean, and you're definitely right. We as people, we want to be connected, and definitely more now than ever because we're in this COVID season. So what you're presenting, I think is priceless right now. And hopefully someone that's hearing this will ask certain questions, or maybe, I guess we can take it here. I mean, give me your information for anybody that is interested in actually connecting now with Fanmire to be on either both sides of the table. And if it's ready to rock and roll, we can, boom, let them go ahead and either move as a fan or move as an influencer on their fans.
Great. So for those of you guys who are 20 and 30 years younger than we are, none of the names we just discussed, please forgive me in advance. So you can still connect with the baby, Drake, new influencers. For those who don't have gray hair, you know, we still, it's a connection with any influencer that you may like. And you can definitely go to our website for more information. That's Fanmire, FANMIRE.com. There's a lot of great things that we have coming up. We are officially about to launch our first athlete. We are in pilot with a gospel singer. We are going to launch our first professional kickboxer, and we have some BMX X game participants that'll be coming in. And there's a lot of cool high level support we're getting on the business front. But fanmire.com, FANMIRE, and you definitely can subscribe to our newsletter and leave your information. And if someone has more interest that they want to discuss, you can go in info.fanmire.com, and we'll definitely get that information. And I can't wait to bring this to the world in a more robust way. But you can check us out now, get some engagement going. The support would be definitely appreciated, and feedback, but it's here and it's only going to get better.
Awesome. Well, Jamel, thank you so much for giving me your time as well as your life-changing experience, man. I look forward to many more testimonials coming from you. Keep up the good work.
Appreciate you, man.
Likewise.
All right. So before I let you go, Todd, if you don't mind sharing, what are you a fan of?
I'm a fan of basketball. You know, I'm a Lakers true diehard fan. I grew up, my dad was a Lakers fan, so I just remember when I was small, me sitting down right beside him watching the Lakers play. We're talking way back when it was Magic was running the point. You had Cooper on the side. You had no other than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You had James Worthy. All those competing up against, you know, Boston, the Larry Birds, and I. Ever since then, I was a fan of Lakers. So I'm a big Lakers true diehard fan.
I got to tell you, I'm slightly jealous. And you forgot Byron Scott. And
Oh yes. How can I forget Byron?
right, and not with Orlando Warwick, guys like that coming from the bench. I mean, I couldn't stand the Lakers. Magic, you know, running a point, posting up guards who were 6 feet tall back then. I mean, you can't deny that they were just a team to be reckoned with. They were truly special.
Mm-hmm.
Special. So in terms of fandom, Todd, just quick, how did you actually get into training?
Well, for me, how I got into training it was kind of crazy. I mean, I won't say crazy, but it was ironic. I used to play basketball in high school and used to hate. Oh my gosh, I hated the gym with a passion. When it came down to, you know, playing ball was cool. I loved playing ball, but our high school coach would always, during preseason, he had us in the weight room, or he made the schedule up and he put the names down and we were supposed to show up. I think I showed up one time. And I used to hate it. And the reason why I hate it is because, one, I didn't think I could develop any muscle. Two, I would go in and I would see everybody else lifting weights, and I was intimidated. I was just like, I can't lift anything. Put me on the court, and I'm good. So I thought from a standpoint that anything outside of basketball, as far as fitness related, just wasn't me. That just wasn't my thing. And so one day, my brother, younger brother, he actually came back his first year from college, and this dude came back jacked. I was like, whoa, we got that in our genes? That runs in our family? And so once I saw him, I'm asking questions. I was like, all right, well, next time you go to the gym, so if you can do it, I know I can do it. That's that brother rivalry thing we had going on. So he started taking me to the gym, showing me certain things, and I started picking it up. And then I started also noticing that I could put on some, could put on some lean muscle tissues. I could develop some muscle. And so that just got me started, and started moving into the whole thing of fitness outside of just playing ball. And that's what got me into the weight room, and what caused me to kind of matriculate from just personal interests of my own fitness to moving to others was um, my sophomore year in college at Morgan State University. I never forget it. Like, basically, my dad picked me up, and we were coming from Morgan heading home, and he said we needed to take a detour to head to the hospital. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, we're just going to visit someone from the church there in the hospital. And so I walked in, and that wasn't just somebody that was there; it was my mom. And that shook me because I never seen my mom ever in my life in the hospital. So she's in the hospital, and I'm speechless. I'm like, what's kind of going on? And so she went to kind of explain that she had been diagnosed with breast cancer, as well as cancer on the thyroid, and it spread.
Wow.
And that really, I mean, that rocked me. But thank God she was able to beat both. And when she got out, she literally was teaching. She was learning, as far as healthy eating, healthy lifestyle, exercise, good, nutrition. And she began to spark my interest, because I knew at that particular point, I knew that, hey, you know, the worst thing that feel I knew what that feeling felt like, to walk into a situation and you can see a loved one that you never seen before in that in that situation where they're dealing with a health issue. And the unfortunate thing was, like, hey, I don't ever want to be, God forbid, we things do happen, but if I can prevent me being in that situation, I'm going to try to do it. But more importantly, if I can prevent or slow down the process of someone else being in that situation, I would love to basically do that. So I think at that particular point, that became part of the journey in which life has taken me to where now my goal and my passion is to help prevent people from even experiencing situations like that. Life is more than just the money we make, but it's a blessing to be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor, and to have not just financial abundance, but abundance even in health. And it doesn't mean that we don't get sick or anything like that, but it does mean that if we can prevent certain lifestyle diseases or certain lifestyle illnesses, that we try to do the best that we can to prevent that. And so that's what got me into where we are now, personal fitness, but ultimately I would say fitness as helping other people.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I was sitting back hearing you, and for as long as I've known you, I don't think I've known that. So
Right.
thank you for sharing that. And I was going to ask, why do you care to the extent that you do? But you made it very abundantly clear. And it just speaks volumes to, again, I say fandom is about a connection, right? And
Mhm.
you're still giving back. So
Mhm.
it's safe to say that you're a fan of health, right?
Right.
You want health celebrated. You want health acknowledged. You want everybody to have it. And who doesn't want that? So, that's just what it's all about. So I thank you for the meaningful discussion. And it's always impressive when we think about, again, what fandom truly is about. It's about that connection, and we were able, just through hearing you share what mom went through, what high school basketball was, going all the way back to the Lakers. You began by being impressed by what your parents introduced you to, and then you had a career and life-changing moment by what your mom went through, right? So we're grateful that your mom is here. We're thankful that you are a true fan of health, and we can do better with them Lakers. But so, but with that, as a Knicks fan, you are still living a better life than I am. So, so congratulations to having LeBron, Magic, Kobe, God bless him. Congratulations to a good life in sports and health. I'm still trying to recover, but I thank you today. And before I would go, one question would be, there's gyms people can join, there's personal training people can take, there's videos people can buy. Why do you think boot camps? Why? I shouldn't say why do you think boot camps, but what made you go in the lane of boot camps as it relates to fitness?
You know, one of the main reasons is that fitness is a journey. It's part of life. It's part of life. Health is a part of life. I mean, life stops when health stops. Nobody can care less about how much money we've made or whatever the case is if you're struggling for the last, breath that you breathe. And Dr. A.R. Bernard had said something. He's pastor of Christian Culture Center. I don't know if I'm able to quote him, but he says something in reference to this. He had basically said, we grow in communities, but we die in isolation. And that speaks volumes in reference to us from a fitness health experience. When it comes down to boot camps, some people just blossom. And all of us, let's just be very clear, no one makes any kind of achievement isolated in a bubble. There's our association definitely dictates our destination. So with boot camps, why I decided to say boot camps is because I know it's hard to make a lifestyle change, and having the connection, like we're talking about with Fanmire, having that connectivity is critical when it comes down to a person trying to achieve a lifestyle goal, a health goal, a fitness goal. Because some days you're going to need support. Some days you're going to need motivation. Some days you're going to need accountability. Some days you're going to basically need an example. Some days you're going to probably even need to move to the next level, need to be in a position where you're mentoring or even being looked up to keep you at your standards high, to keep you moving at a certain level. And you can't get all of that privately. That only comes collectively in a group.